This is the SIMRAD CE30 shipmate CP30. When the internal battery goes flat, the GPS forgets its location. It incorrectly shows my location in England. It will eventually rediscover its correct position, but it can take some time. This guide shows how to replace the battery. Do not attempt this unless you have the appropriate electronic skills. Place the unit face down on a cloth to protect the LCD screen. Then undo the 3 screws on each side. Turn the unit around and undo the remaining 3 screws. Stand the unit up in any orientation and gently pry apart the LCD screen from the body, being careful of the wires inside that connect the LCD screen to the body. Remove the single ribbon connection first. This will allow you to open the case even wider. Then remove the small ribbon, the plug, and the remaining ribbon. Remove the screen from the body. Lay the unit flat and remove the 10 screws that hold the steel shield over the circuit board. Turn the unit around and remove the remaining screws. Pick out any screws that remain in place. Turn the unit over and remove the nuts that hold the connectors on at the rear. You may find it easier to use a socket to remove these. Once all the nuts are undone, turn the unit back over and remove the steel plate in front of the circuit board. Then undo the screw that holds the circuit board in place. Gently wiggle the circuit board out of the clip that holds it underneath. On this unit, the battery is round and it's soldered to the circuit board. There are 3 terminals that hold it in place. Place a small screwdriver under the battery and apply a small amount of pressure while using a dry soldering iron to melt the connection. The terminal will come out of the circuit board, allowing you to get a better grip on the battery. To repeat the same process with those terminals. Minimize the amount of time you have the soldering iron on the joint to ensure you do not overheat the circuit board. Once all the terminals are free, you'll be able to inspect the battery. There should be some markings on the battery so you can identify a suitable replacement. If the terminals cover up the markings on the battery, gently remove the terminals. Once you've identified the battery, you can look for a replacement. Within Australia, you could try Master Instruments to find a replacement battery. Perform a search on their website for your battery code. There may be many results. Scroll down until you see a battery that looks similar. I'm in luck, they even have exactly the same brand. Check the spacings on the terminals to make sure you've got the right battery. And order a replacement. Here's my new battery ready to be soldered back onto the circuit board. Place the battery terminals in the existing holes. We'll melt them from the other side. Holding the battery in place, turn the circuit board over. With a dry soldering iron, heat the holes for a short amount of time, allowing the terminals to enter back into the holes. Once the terminals enter the holes, the battery will be held onto the circuit board. Continue this process walking the terminals deeper into the hole. and repeat this process on all terminals. When all the battery terminals are fully engaged, apply a small amount of solder to the soldering iron, then solder each terminal in its hole. All we have to do now is reassemble the GPS. Place the circuit board back into the GPS case. Press the circuit board securely into the connector underneath. Replace the screw that holds the circuit board in place. Then install the steel shield. Reconnect the ribbon to the terminal and resecure all the screws. Flip the case over and hand start all the retaining nuts. Then securing them with a socket. Stand the unit up, grab the LCD and mate it to the case, then start reconnecting the terminals. Place the small ribbon terminal on first, then the pin terminals, then the larger ribbon. Finally, replace the last ribbon cable to the LCD screen, making sure it's connected properly. Close the case up and make sure it's sealed properly all the way around. Place the unit face down on a cloth and reinstall the 6 screws. To ensure a good watertight seal, ensure that all 6 screws are done up tight. Reconnect the unit and power it up. It will take some time for it to re-establish its location, but after that, when you turn it off and back on again, it will remember its location, as shown here, correctly identifying Melbourne. And that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this guide. Now all that's left is to power the unit down and install it back in the boat.